Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. You know how we do it around here? We take one interesting piece and we dive deep.
That's right, depth dive.
So today we're diving into the Premier League. Specifically, we're looking at this match report about Manchester City's big win over Ipswich Town.
6-0.
Yeah, 6-0. Big win. At first glance, it's a bit of a David and Goliath story, right?
Yeah.
Newly promoted Ipswich coming up against, the Manchester City machine. But, as always, the real story is a bit more nuanced.
Absolutely.
Especially because even when City aren't playing their best, they can still dominate,
Yeah.
And especially against these newly promoted teams. Actually, did you know they've won something like 21 of their last 22 matches against teams just coming up from the championship?
Yeah, they've got this aura about them,
Yeah.
Teams can be a bit intimidated right out of the gate.
Right. So the big questions for our deep dive today are, what were the real turning points of this match? What does it tell us about both these teams, City and Ipswich? And I think most importantly, is this a sign that City are truly back to that championship form that we all know they're capable of?
Those are the big questions for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't like Ipswich were just completely outclassed the whole time, right?
Yeah.
They had some moments early on that could change the whole direction of the game. Like Liam Delap nearly snuck one in early.
He did. He almost caught Ederson out.
Almost. And then there was that incredible save by Ipswich's goalkeeper, Christian Walton, robbing Erling Haaland a sure goal.
Walton had a great game despite the scoreline. Some fantastic saves.
He really did. It's like even when City's not playing their best, their reputation precedes them, right? It must be intimidating for a keeper going up against Haaland.
Oh, absolutely. Every keeper knows Haaland is going to get his chances. And it's not just the physical presence, it's the mental game, too.
So Ipswich actually came into this match with a bit of a game plan. They weren't just there to park the bus.
Definitely not. They weren't afraid to press high, try to force City into some mistakes. They knew they were underdogs. And they actually tried to take advantage of some of those inconsistencies we've seen from City recently.
It's like they did their research. Those early chances, even though they didn't score, it shows they had a plan.
Exactly. It shows a level of tactical awareness and, bravery that you don't always see from newly promoted sides.
I like that, tactical bravery. But then City scored. And, I think that kind of shifted the whole momentum of the match. Fell on boom, boom, back of the net. And then I think it was just 3 minutes later.
3 minutes later, Mateo Kovačić puts City up by 2. And that's when you could see they were settling into the game.
Yep. City just took control from there.
And Foden, oh man, he was phenomenal. His movement off the ball, his passing, everything was creating chances. And let's not forget, he's a City Academy graduate. So there's this extra layer of, narrative there of destiny.
It's a great story. A local lad done good. And he wasn't just scoring. He was creating chances left and right. His heat map must have been lit up like a Christmas tree.
Absolutely. And he was linking up beautifully with De Bruyne. And when those two were clicking.
It's trouble for the other team.
Big trouble.
Yeah. And then Foden scores his second goal before the half.
Mm-hmm.
De Bruyne with the assist, obviously. It was like watching Prime City, that classic attacking style they're known for. Fluid, creative, ruthless.
It was a reminder of just how devastating they can be when they're at their best. And this first half performance is really important when you consider City's form coming into the match.
Right.
They haven't been perfect.
They haven't. There have been some hiccups.
Hiccups, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that Brentford game where they lost a multiple goal lead. So, you start to wonder, are they losing that edge?
And this match could be a sign that they're getting it back.
Right.
That killer instinct.
Exactly. But the question is, can they maintain it? That's what we need to see over the course of the season.
Consistency. Well, the second half starts, and Jeremy Doku gets on the score sheet. It felt like that goal just completely sealed it for City. They were up by 3 at that point. It just felt over. What did you make of Doku's performance?
He's an interesting one, Doku. He was really quiet for most of the match, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's involved in 2 goals in the space of about 10 minutes.
Like a spark.
Yeah, like a spark. And I think it's a really promising sign. It's just he's finding his feet, getting comfortable in City's system. Definitely a player to watch for the rest of the season, for sure.
Absolutely. And then you have Jack Clark's error. Unfortunately for him, it led to Haaland getting on the score sheet. Even when they weren't completely firing on all cylinders, City were just there to punish every mistake.
Ruthless efficiency. That's what separates the good teams from the great teams.
Speaking of Haaland, he signed that massive 10-year contract just before this match. It's a huge commitment. It's a big statement from the club. What does it tell you about their plans and their confidence in him? 10 years is a long time in football.
It is. It's a massive statement. It's a statement of intent, for sure. They're building around him, and
Yeah.
they're not afraid to show it. It shows incredible confidence in his ability, but it also raises some interesting questions, right? Like, how will this affect their wage structure? How will other players react? And what about future transfer targets? It could change their entire approach.
Absolutely. But then, just to add another layer of dominance, substitute James McAtee comes on and scores. It's like they were determined to just keep piling on the pressure, even with the game already won.
It's a testament to their depth and their mentality. They weren't content to just sit back and see out the game. They wanted more. And, well, you have to think, with the Champions League coming up, they're sending a message to their rivals. We're here, and we're ready.
Yeah, 6-0. I mean, that scoreline really does tell the story. It was Ipswich's joint heaviest Premier League defeat this century. It really highlights the gulf in class between these two sides.
It does. But you have to give Ipswich credit for their early fight. And, it's a long season. They're new to the league. There's a lot to learn.
Absolutely. One game doesn't define a season.
Exactly. This win was a statement from City, no doubt. But the real test is whether they can replicate this kind of performance against top opposition week in, week out. That's what will determine whether they're truly back to their best. Consistency. That's the key word.
So we saw a dominant City performance, Foden pulling all the strings, Doku showing his potential, and of course those big questions remain about City's consistency. For Ipswich, well, it was a tough day, but they did show some fight early on.
They did.
But here's a question for everyone listening. Was this match a sign of a shifting landscape in the Premier League, or was it simply a top team asserting its dominance over a newly promoted side? I want you to think about it. Go beyond just the scoreline. Look at the tactics, the individual performances, the long-term implications. It's going to be a very interesting Premier League season.
Can't wait to see how it unfolds.
Me neither. And we'll be here to break it all down for you. So until next time, keep on diving deep.
Deep dive.